The Rams just found their secret weapon. The Rams announced their captains today, as well as a new announcement on some big injury updates, as well as going over the practice squad in depth and a big NFL news day overall. All that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before I head into today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers right now. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that button so you are a part of the journey. And make sure to hit that notification bell. Click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content covering all things Rams. And make sure to leave a like on this video right now as well, for us being exactly 1 week away from NFL kickoff. Not Rams kickoff, but NFL kickoff. Cowboys-Eagles on Thursday night. That is coming up. Should be a nice opening game here for this NFL season. But I know we're a Rams channel, but before we get into that, we do need to go over some big NFL news today. And I'm sure you all saw it. Micah Parsons is not the Rams' new secret weapon, unfortunately. He is a new secret weapon of the Green Bay Packers. But we are going to get into just how this affects the Rams Super Bowl odds right away. So we're going to head on into this one real quick. And we got this going right now. Obviously, you already, I'm sure, saw this. Parsons and the Packers already have reached an agreement on a 4-year, $188 million contract. And the contract includes $120 million fully guaranteed at signing and makes Parsons the highest paid non-QB in NFL history. And that's exactly what Parsons wanted. He wanted to be the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. He got that. The guarantees, I've seen $120 million, I've seen $136 million. I even asked ChatGPT and I got both answers there. So it's still being debated what those guarantees are. I'm sure we'll get a final report on that tomorrow. But that 4-year 188 mark is for sure. And that is $47 million AAV, which is a crazy valuation of a contract for any athlete. And now we got to get into what the actual trade was for Micah Parsons. And according to our boy Adam Schefter, the full trade is the Cowboys get Kenny Clark, who's a decent little player, and 2 first-round picks. The Packers get Micah Parsons, obviously. Now, obviously, the Packers come out as the big winners of this trade. You get Micah Parsons. I mean, that's a win in and of itself. The Cowboys, I don't know what they were doing. I feel bad for Dallas. First, they lose Luka. And I will still say the Luka trade is far worse, but you still also lose Micah Parsons. The Luka trade, no one saw coming. The Micah Parsons trade over the last month made some sense. I've even heard reports come out today that they almost traded him last offseason, which is even crazier. Like I don't know what's happening down there in the city of Dallas. I mean, Nico Harrison, Jerry Jones, one and the same down there. But I did see Jerry Jones recently, like I'm talking like around 30 minutes ago before I'm filming this, said it makes them a better team, because they can use the picks to go get other players, which in theory, he's not wrong, but at the same time, there's no one out there right now that's worth a first-round pick, let alone 2. So I don't know who you're getting. Kenny Clark's a nice player, though, but he's just not Micah Parsons. Kenny Clark is very underrated, but not Micah Parsons level. So comment down below right now your thoughts on this trade. For the Packers, I give it an A- just because he did lose Kenny Clark, who is a solid player, but you got Micah Parsons. And for the Cowboys, this is a C. You got your 2 first that you wanted. I mean, you got Kenny Clark, who's a decent player, but you lost Micah Parsons. I can't give you any higher than a C for this trade. But for the Rams, this affects the Rams a great deal, because obviously the Packers, a playoff team the last 2 seasons, a team that I feel like a lot of people think was in a similar tier to the Rams, as just outside the Eagles and Lions in terms of the best teams in the NFC. And now that they're adding Micah Parsons, that division is now a 2-horse race. I thought it was a little bit more wide open, but no, it's a 2-horse race in the NFC North between the Lions and Packers, in my opinion, for that division. But this makes the Rams have to go through a potentially scary defense. The Packers' defense was great last year under their new coordinator, and I don't see why they take a huge step back, at least front 7-wise. Secondary is a little worse, losing Jair Alexander, but they're definitely going to be a threat to the Rams. Obviously, the Eagles being the biggest threat to the Rams to win the Super Bowl. But now does this make the Packers another team the Rams have to worry about in the playoffs? Leave that down below in the comments, because I fully believe it does, especially if the Rams have O-line issues heading into a playoff game against the Packers. That really gets me concerned, having to go against one of the best overall defensive players we've seen, I'm going to say, in the last 15, 20 years. He's been amazing. I saw a stat where he's like the only guy since Reggie White to have like 12 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. And we know Reggie White's one of the best ever. And Micah Parsons is potentially on his way to being that as well. Leave in your comments down below your thoughts on this trade and how this affects the Rams. And are the Packers now a bigger threat than you thought heading into this NFL season. But now we have to get on to the Rams news of the day. The Rams did announce their captains today over on social media, the captains of the team. And this story is brought to us by Rams Wire, which we will get into right now. The Los Angeles Rams announced on Thursday they will have 7 team captains in 2025, 3 of whom are captains for the first time. The offense, defense, and special teams are all represented with 3 players on offense, 3 on defense, and 1 on special teams. Matthew Stafford and Rob Havenstein return as captains on offense, with Kyren Williams being selected for the first time in his career. On defense, Kobe Turner and Quentin Lake are captains for the second time, and newcomer Nate Landman is a first-time captain as the starting inside linebacker. Yeah, Nate Landman, we've seen the reviews coming out of camp. Chris Shula loves him. His teammates love him. He's even been wearing the green dot already in just his first year as a Ram, meaning that he's really grasped that defense. Chris Shula, the defense, they trust him to call the plays. And you need a guy like that who can lead on and off the field. As for the other captains, not really any surprises here. Quentin Lake, Kobe Turner, and Stafford all being captains last year as well as Rob Havenstein, Kyren, and Nate Landman being the first dude. And good for Kyren, because I know McVay was talking a lot about how much he loves Kyren on and off the field as a leader before the contract got signed, and I'm happy to see the Rams and the players, because it's a vote, it is a player vote, that Kyren ended up getting enough votes to become a team captain. Surprisingly, no Devontae or Puka. Potentially next year for both of those guys as well. As well as Ethan Evans represents the special teams group as a first-time captain entering his 3rd season in the NFL. Yeah, that's great to see. I think it's rare to see a guy in special teams be a captain, not because they can't lead, but just because special teams isn't one of those positions where they're out there every single play of a drive, that they have their one job, and they have to be great at that one job, yes, but it's sometimes I feel like a bit more difficult for a guy like that to earn enough respect to be a team captain. And good for Ethan Evans, because he's a nice young player. The Rams, I think, are going to keep him around for a while. We saw Johnny Hekker be great on 2 different Super Bowl teams, and Ethan Evans is definitely on his way to being that as well. So that's definitely great to see. It's something to note that last season, the Rams only had 5 captains: Stafford, Havenstein, Turner, Lake, and Cooper Kupp. No special teams players were voted as captains in 2024, so this is a big honor for the young punter Evans. Yeah, team captain is a big honor at high school level and up. I mean, anytime you're a team, I had the opportunity to be a tennis team captain for my high school for a month, and then COVID shut us down, so I did not get to be a team captain there. But for that month, I really did take it seriously, and you have to be if you're going to be a team captain. I'm sure all these players are going to do just that for this Rams team. And now we actually have to get into a nice little photo that the captains took together. Look at this. We have the nice little captain photo. This was taken off of the Rams Twitter account. Obviously, we know who they are. Nice photo. Well done there. All of them, I think, are going to make key contributions to this team. But the main guy that I do want to get into is Nate Landman, a guy who, again, we talked about him already. Really loved by the defense, loved by Chris Shula. He was someone who I thought could be an underrated signee. 2022 undrafted player out of Colorado. Was great for the Falcons last year. Had over 100 tackles, and he came to the Rams, and I didn't really think it was enough to address the linebacker room, but I'm slowly changing my mind, and the Rams do have their new secret weapon, as we have Sean McVay with a quote about Nate Landman coming up for you right now. He has really high emotional intelligence in terms of to come in, to be able to ask questions, to really be able to get familiar with his teammates, and then being able to pick and choose his spots to be able to lead, from Sean McVay describing Nate Landman. And that is a lot of high praise from your head coach already going into this first season in a new team. And he's a guy who signed a 1-year, $1.1 million contract, so a really, really good value deal as well. And Nate Landman, I could see him having another 100 tackle type season. I think he's a guy who can help the Rams stop the run, which we all know they desperately need to do better. And Nate Landman, if he's that green dot wearer, and if he can really get those signals across, he's a guy who I could see being a Pro Bowler. Although that is more of a fan vote. All Pro is going to be tougher. Because a guy like Zach Bond on the Eagles, who you're going to have to beat out in Fred Warner. I mean, those two guys pretty much already got it locked up. And we'll see just how effective Nate Landman can be. But I believe he is the main X factor for this Rams defense heading into next season. Because the reviews from practice have been awesome so far this offseason. So comment down below right now your thoughts on the captains overall, what they mean to the team, and especially your thoughts on Nate Landman. He was the thumbnail of the video for the reason, because I think he really is the key X factor to this defense. And now we have to go over the practice squad that was just announced fully, at 15-16, not fully. And this is also brought to us by Rams Wire. I thought they were going to sign another player, so I did not make a video yesterday, but they did not. So we're going to get into that right now. After setting their initial 53-man roster, the Los Angeles Rams got to work assembling their practice squad. On Wednesday, they announced they signed 15 players to the practice squad, all of whom were with the team this offseason. Teams are allowed to carry 16 players on the practice squad each year, so they still have one spot available. Below is the complete list of players that the Rams signed on Wednesday. As we see, we have O-lineman A.J. Arikiri and Wyatt Bowles, wide receiver Drew Edwards, cornerback A.J. Green, defensive tackle Jack Eflin, safety Tanner Engel, corner Cam Lampkin, O-lineman Dylan McMahon, outside linebacker Jamil Muhammad, inside linebacker Elias Neal, D-tackle Bill Norton, wide receiver Brendan Presley, running back Ronnie Rivers, running back Cody Schrader, and safety Nate Valcarcel. Again, all these guys I do agree with being on the practice squad. Wyatt Bowles, again, had an awesome preseason, just really wasn't space for him as a true guard. Arikiri, former 7th round pick, makes sense. Drew Edwards had a nice catch to win the game against the Chargers. A.J. Green played really well throughout the preseason, has been on some teams before. Surprised he didn't get picked up. And they got Jack Eflin. Tanner Engel looked great the final 2 weeks. Cam Lampkin's ball skills, he was on the P squad last year. Makes sense to bring him back. Dylan McMahon, cool. Jamil Muhammad, cool. Elias Neal looks good throughout the preseason, so I'm not surprised he's here. Brendan Presley was one of the guys that I mentioned, along with Cam Lampkin, of guys who I wanted on this practice squad. He looked really good throughout that entire preseason, leading the preseason in explosive plays, too. So again, surprised he didn't get picked up. Running back Ronnie Rivers, nice to see that he's healthy. Makes sense he's here. Running back Cody Schrader, I'm happy they were able to keep him. And again, surprised he did not get picked up as well on waivers just because he was so good this preseason. And safety Nate Valcarcel makes sense. Undrafted rookie. You want to keep developing him. All these guys make sense. I agree with everyone. Sucks Willie Lampkin couldn't be on this team. The Eagles picked him up, of course, and I'm sure he's going to be great for them. And there are some names, though, that are not on this team, but leave in the comments down below before we get into some names, some shocking leave-outs or people who you thought would be here. Leave in the comments down below your thoughts on the practice squad, because some of these guys may need to play. Because if Xavier Smith gets hurt, you have Winnington, but Brendan Presley could be called up to return punts, or Cody Schrader may need to be on the team if a backup running back gets hurt. Like, there's going to be guys on here who you see not playing, I don't want to say heavy snaps, but maybe they'll have to play 10 to 20 snaps in a game, and that's why the practice squad is so important. The most notable names returning to the Rams are Green, Engel, Lampkin, and McMahon, Presley, Rivers, and Schrader. They're viewed as some of the top players cut by LA, along with 4 players who were claimed off waivers by other teams on Wednesday. My co-host Joshua Heron covered that yesterday if you want to watch that video after this one. But the Rams did not have a chance to bring back Willie Lampkin, Brennan Jackson, Charles Woods, or Dameron Kendrick, as all of them were claimed off of waivers, which makes sense because all of them had good enough preseasons to be claimed. Obviously, Dameron Kendrick has 2 years of starting NFL experience. And interestingly as well, the name that I thought maybe some of other people thought would be on this practice squad, Britton Covey, was not brought back on the practice squad after signing as a free agent this offseason and competing for the punt return role. He's now a free agent. Again, he is a guy who a couple years ago led the league in punt return yards, was a Pro Bowler. Again, that's more of a fan vote, but he was definitely deserving of it. And he's a guy who I thought would really give Xavier Smith a run for his money. But he didn't, obviously. Xavier Smith was awesome this entire preseason, not just as a special teamer, but he was a good overall receiver as well. And Britton Covey did not live up to, I guess, his 2023 hype. He was hurt for a lot of 2024. I'm surprised he still hasn't been picked up yet, the last time I checked, which was right before filming this. So he's a guy, maybe he's number 16 for the Rams that they bring in, or he gets picked up by a team, or he may be waiting, sadly, if someone unfortunately does get hurt, that he's ready to replace them and be in his role. But leave in the comments down below right now your thoughts on Britton Covey in general not being on the practice squad right now. And our last main story here, before we get into a fun story to end it, is that the Rams do have some injury updates, and some really key injury updates, and some good ones to get into. We have some positive news to go over, and this brought to us by therams.com, so we're going to head on into that right now. And earlier this week, Rams head coach Sean McVay said the offensive lineman Alaric Jackson, blood clots in his lower leg, is scheduled to practice in full for the first time this upcoming Monday. Meaning this upcoming Monday as in, I believe that is a Labor Day this upcoming Monday, just doing a double check. Yes, it is. This upcoming Monday is Labor Day. So the Rams will not be taking Labor Day off, everybody. They will be out there on the practice field after today's full uniform practice. I believe the first full uniform practice of this offseason. And after Thursday morning's practice today, McVay took it a step further and said not only will Jackson do that, but he's also slated to be a full participant in practice if the plans go accordingly on Wednesday and Thursday, and take part in the walkthrough on Friday during next week's preparation for their September 7th regular season opener against the Texans at SoFi Stadium, 125 on CBS. Make sure to take a note of that on CBS this time and not Fox, but that is a key note here for this Rams team. Mainly because Jackson, we were all thinking when this first happened, oh no, is this a 9, 10, 11 game absence? And then as training camp's gone on, he's not going to be on the IR. He doesn't have to miss 4 games. And I was thinking week 2, week 3, we're good if he misses week 1. But if he has a full week of practice, there's a shot that Jackson does get to play week 1, even if it's on a snap count of maybe, let's say, 25, 30. That he does get to go out there and at least get some reps. And by the time it's week 4, week 5, he could be fully worked back in and have 10, 11 healthy games. And I say that because hopefully the Rams clinch a spot and get to sit everyone again in week 17, in week 18, I should say. So for Jackson, this is key. And he's been dominating his recovery right now. And it's great to see that he has a real shot to play here in week 1. Nothing confirmed just yet on this, obviously. But this is a huge step in the right direction for this Rams team and offensive line, that they'll have a nice little week to, if everything goes accordingly, with no setbacks on Jackson, that they will get that continuity going for that final week of the offseason. And leave in the comments right now down below your thoughts on this, because I think this is a key and awesome positive injury update for this Rams team. Like this video right now. I heard if you like the video, Alaric Jackson has a better chance of playing week 1, so make sure to do that right now. And aside from Jackson, everybody was out there for the team's inter-squad scrimmage this morning, or intra-squad scrimmage this morning, I should say, per McVay. So that was a real positive. And this also included rookie outside linebacker Josiah Stewart, who is dealing with that concussion on concussion protocol. And this is big for the Rams, because I was thinking Josiah Stewart, don't need to rush him back. He misses week 1, comes back week 2. But the fact that he is out there makes me think he's almost cleared through that protocol. And if the Rams can have Jackson and Stewart there week 1, and Stafford has no setbacks, knock on my winning desk here for all injuries to not happen to any team before week 1. But if Jackson and Stewart are both ready for week 1, the Rams are going to be fully healthy. And this is a Super Bowl contending team when fully healthy. And I cannot wait to see what they do in week 1. Maybe Josiah Stewart can surprise some people, because that Texans O-line is not great. And if Josiah Stewart's out there, you can blitz even more guys. I think Chris Shulo is going to be blitzing heavy in week 1, especially with that O-line of Houston not being great. So Josiah Stewart can have a key impact in that game if he is healthy. And now I have one last final fun story to get into today. The Rams are taking part of Rivalry Week jerseys, and we have a photo of the jerseys to show you right now. Here they are, the Midnight Mode edition. You got Stafford, you got Devontae and Puka. This was also taken off of the Rams Twitter account. And I'm a big fan of these jerseys. I like the dark blue. I like the yellow accents on the helmet and on the jersey in general. I think these are going to look fire out there on the field. I personally cannot wait to get one. I'm going to get one. I'm going to be wearing one in the videos. You'll see. Comment down below. Right now, comment down below which jersey I should get for the Rams. You can pick whatever player. Maybe I'll get the top comments jersey. Top liked comment, I will get that jersey for the Rams. And just limit it to actual Rams players who are on the roster for right now. That is the only caveat there for the comments. But going back to this photo here, they look great. Rivalry Week jerseys, I believe, don't go on sale until after week 1. I could be wrong on that, so make sure to check Rams Twitter and the Rams merchandise website for those details. But I'm a fan of these jerseys. If I was to do a cop or drop, I would definitely cop. This is a great jersey. Basically, for if anyone who doesn't know, that means buy it or not buy it. I would definitely buy this jersey right here. It looks great, and I'm not just saying that as a Rams fan. I think they did a great job designing these jerseys, and I wonder what week they'll use it for, because that has not yet been announced. But leave in the comments your thoughts on the jersey and the player's jersey I should buy. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you very much for watching. As always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5K. We just hit 4.2K, so thank you so much for that. And make sure to click the notification bell, click all, so you can get notified and never miss our daily new Rams Digest video content uploads covering all things Rams. Leave a like on this video for the NFL season being exactly 1 week away. And leave a like on this video as well for Alaric Jackson, because I heard if you like the video, he does get to play in week 1. At least there's a better chance of that. Leave in the comments down below your thoughts on the Micah trade and how this affects the Rams Super Bowl odds. I do believe it affects them a bit Leave your comments on the captains and Nate Landman being a defensive secret weapon, as well as Alaric Jackson's injury update and the practice squad as a whole. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh. As always, thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. Make sure to comment down below the jersey I should buy for this Rams team with the Midnight Movie Edition Rivalry jerseys. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh. As always, thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.